What is up, everybody? Welcome to You Rankin with Me. I am your host, Chadwick Webb, and over here is my co-host, James Tancock. And then down there, we have frequent guest, Kerri Webb, my wife. How's it going, guys?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be a part of this ranking finally. I love these franchises, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a long time running. We started this show off, I feel like somewhat doing things frequently, and then we started to have big ideas, and then we're like, let's watch all the movies and get our opinions, on all these really fresh and stuff, and then it just ended up being like we're gonna take months between episodes in order to get these things out. But obviously, also life happens, and James recently moved, so we've had a lot of stuff going on, but and being sick for a couple months actually too. So things happen, but we're finally getting into it, and we're here today to rank the Alien versus Predator franchises. So basically, it's all the movies that you would think would fit in that. And here I have a little bit of a graphic. We have Alien from 79, Aliens from 86, Predator from 87, Predator 2 from 1990, when I was born, Alien 3 from 92, Alien Resurrection from 97, Alien vs. Predator from 04, Alien vs. Predator Requiem from 07, Predators from 2010, Prometheus from 2012, Alien Covenant from 2017, The Predator from 2018, Prey from 2022, and most recently, Alien Romulus from 2024. Very interesting kind of slate for this, where it goes from starting off from something really, really great, I feel like, to having a weird roller coaster and just interesting stuff along the way, but not so great stuff also along the way. So I'm very excited to get into it and try to figure out how everybody ranks this individually, and then at the end we'll come up with our own combined ranking as we usually do. How it works basically is we're just going to go around the bend, starting off with because there's 14 films, our number 14s, and then we're going to keep going until we find a common ground as far as something that's ranked closely together. Like if I don't know, Alien versus Predator is all of our 14s, then we would just talk about Alien versus Predator right then and there. But if something that maybe one or two people rank a lot lower is in your top 5, I would say, then you can just say, hey, wait for it. Or, hey, I have that ranked way higher. Hey, I love that one. Let's not talk about that until later, kind of a deal. So, without further ado, we can go ahead and start getting into our rankings of this, and let's have some good conversation. All right, guys. My number 14 is Alien versus Predator Requiem. James.
I put The Predator.
Oh, okay. Kerri.
Oh wait, sorry. Let me pull up. I had it up and then I exited out of it. Okay. Mine is AVP Requiem. The Predator. I'll say right now, I was strongly considering switching those. So.
And I'll just say it right now. The Predator is my number 13, so not too far off of what James said.
I have AVP 2 at 13, so.
Kerri, what's your 13?
The Predator.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those are our two, unanimously our two bottom. We kind of have it switched a little bit up between us, but those two films are bottom 2. So let's go ahead and talk about those two movies. I guess I'll start with because I had Requiem a little bit lower. It was the lowest on my end. So I'll start with that one. That movie is just, let's just be honest. It's a sequel to a movie that's already not that great, but it's even worse than the movie that came before it. Whereas I feel like it had maybe like some, beefier kills and some really cool practical effects that, were like did happen in the original movie, Alien versus Predator, that is. Um, but because of the choices they made with the cinematography to keep everything so dark, it's like you really just can't see anything that's happening in the movie. And I just don't think it has like a great story or great characters or really anything to latch onto anyways. But if you could see a lot of the action, maybe this one could be a little bit higher. And then I would actually agree that it's better than the Predator, but you just can't really see anything going on. And at least even if the Predator has a lot of really bad stuff in it, you can at least see what's going on and maybe enjoy some of it. Which that's it's a stretch to even say you can enjoy some of it, but you know what I'm saying when I'm comparing these two. So yeah. But I'll get into my thoughts on the Predator later. James.
Yeah, for AVP Requiem, I mean it's such a long hour and a half long movie. The thing just wouldn't end. I was like, is it over? How much of this is left? I remember seeing it in the theater when it first came out. Wasn't great then, still wasn't good now. I mean, like you kind of mentioned, I didn't care much for any of the characters that well. I just didn't really see much in it. Didn't really, like it that much. It's just a long hour and a half movie. It just went on and on.
Yeah, yep. And I guess because if it's a 90-minute movie, like I love 90-minute movies that are like good and use their time well, but like you could even see like they didn't really even have much to go off of because I feel like most of these movies are at least 2 hours long. So Kerri, what you think?
Yeah, agree with everything you guys said. This is like you should not be like just begging for a movie to end when it's only 90 minutes long. I like it's hard to tell both like visually and just logically what is happening in this movie at all. Like it really just doesn't make any sense. It's annoying that they made a sequel to the first one in the first place cuz um the first AVP is it's not good. I mean, it's fine. Like it's better than this movie, obviously, but it's not good. It did not deserve a sequel. Um, so yeah, it's just honestly, whenever I watch this movie, I fall asleep, and it's a struggle to make it through it.
Totally makes sense. All right. Yeah, James, do you want to go ahead and start with the Predator?
Yeah, sure. So this one, given all of the other movies in like the Predator franchise itself, like I don't understand like how this kind of came to be. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I like necessarily how the end played out. I was surprised to see the CG quality, if you can call it that, of that little alien hunter suit he had at the end of the movie with all like the missile pods and the whatever like on the shoulders and the arms, like all the lasers coming out. Like I don't know. I think for being what was it 2018 when it came out, it just wasn't really that great. And I don't know how much I liked the references of like, get through the choppers, but they're like getting on the motorcycles out of the bus. Like they try to have a few callbacks and like, I mean, I guess it works amusingly enough, but this one, I didn't like this one at all in the Predator franchise. I didn't like it comparing it to any of the other Alien movies. I don't think it even stacks up to the worst ones of those. This one just wasn't my favorite movie at all.
Yeah, I feel like this franchise or both of these franchises are majorly guilty in like the whole callbacks and trying to repeat lines and stuff like that throughout the all of them. And like all the Predators are like, let's throw out that one Arnold line in each movie. So it is what it is. Kerri.
Yeah, this movie also, it's like I think I put it a little above AVP because there are some good actors in this, like Sterling K. Brown is in this. I think visually for the most part, it's a little better. The plot is like you can follow it, but and there's like maybe some action scenes, and you're like, that could have been cool if it was done a little differently. But I also think this movie, it's been a while. I remember just that this movie though is like actively kind of offensive, and the plot like has like so many like it's so illogical, and like the characters do things that literally do not make any sense. Like I like it just seems like it was, I don't know, some like weird fan fiction that someone predator fan fiction that someone made into a movie. um I wish I could remember like more. I definitely, when I after I watched this, I was like pretty steamed and like had some more specific criticisms, but um would not recommend.
Yeah, I think a lot of us should probably be better at note taking when we
Yeah.
do. I know Charles is usually on his game with that, but I just have never been that big of a note taker. So try to do a little bit of a recap at the end of or like before recording and stuff like that. But it's hard to remember every detail from every movie. These are 14 movies. Yeah, the Predator, like you guys have been saying, it's just like it just feels like a big like just misstep. It seemed like a really cool idea. Shane Black from the original Predator is going to make a Predator movie. This is really cool, right? Shane Black is a good director. I like a lot of Shane Black movies, but then when it comes to it, it just really feels like so many bad directions at once. Like Harry said, it's problematic. They have the whole autistic kid is becoming a superhero trope, and it's like not even that's not even a trope. They just made that up. And it's like it's like you're just you don't know anything about autism, and you're just offending a lot of people with this. People on the spectrum and off. So it's I don't know, it's just really icky with that. And then you have just too many characters trying to be funny when they're not really. It's like that you bring in Keegan Michael Key just to sit there and do like the same like so many like sex jokes over and over and over, and that's like his whole character. That's all he does. And then you have, and Kerri mentioned Sterling K. Brown. I feel like he's kind of miscast in this movie because every time like he's saying something, I'm like, oh, I don't want Sterling K. Brown to be saying these things. Like
Oh yeah.
he's such a I don't know. It's not that he couldn't do a villain turn. I mean, he was a villain in Supernatural.
Hmm.
It was a great one, but he's not like sitting there just saying the F word a bunch of times for no reason and stuff like that. So yeah, and just like I don't know, it just didn't really feel like there was anything to grasp onto with this. Like, yeah, you could see everything, but I feel like in the reverse, sometimes you don't want to be seeing it. So, it's one of those things where these are two really bad movies for different reasons, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I guess we can move. Kerri has another thought.
I do. I remember one of my specific criticisms, and that's that there's two writers of this movie. One is Shane
Mm.
Black, and the other is Fred Decker. And Fred Decker wrote like three other movies besides this one. One of them being the Monster Squad from the 1980s, which
Oh.
is like a decent, good movie. But I feel like if you watch that movie and then watch this, it's like the same writing, except he's trying to apply like the things like kids could get away with saying in the 80s to
Mhm.
adults in a Predator movie in the
Oh.
2010s.
2010. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I don't
2018.
know.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is like, the dialogue is so odd, like, but it would make sense.
Yeah. No, actually, that's a great point. All right. So moving on, we'll go to our 12s. I'll just say mine. My 12 is Alien Resurrection. James.
I had Alien versus Predator at number 12.
Okay. Kerri.
I also had Alien versus Predator at number 12.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and talk about Alien versus Predator because two people had it, and it's not in my top five. So, Kerri, do you want to start with Alien versus Predator?
Yeah. I saw this movie in theaters at like we used to have like a dollar theater in Glen
Ooh,
Burnie. So we saw it for like $1, which is the amount of money you should pay to watch this movie.
burn.
It's not, I mean, it's better than the other two I think that we just talked about, but it's like a cool concept, but I think I just the script isn't entirely there. Like some of the action, I feel like again this movie is kind of shot pretty dark. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. Um, yeah, I don't. It's a concept that could have been so cool, and I think it just didn't pay off.
Yeah, I don't have this too much higher, but it's not my third lowest. It's close to that. I like this a little bit more than the second one. You could see it. I feel like there's a lot of really cool stuff going on, like that team that they had working both movies. Um, we're doing like a lot of great like practical effects. So there's some like once you get into the actual Alien versus Predator stuff, it ends up being kind of cool. The human stuff, as with a lot of these types of franchises, is kind of like the weakest part of it, but it's still, I mean, you need people to, be killed in these slasher type movies. And Yeah, I just think a lot of some of the effects are really cool. It's got like a really cool like third act, I feel like, where you have one predator team up with the one human to go against a lot of the aliens, the xenomorphs. And there's some really cool sequences that come out of that. So yeah, it's not a great movie. I don't even think it's a good movie, but I do think it's watchable. There's some cool stuff in it once you get to it. I feel like maybe it has a little bit of like a slow burn at the start, but not done super well. But yeah, I don't hate this one actually, but I don't love it either. Yeah, I don't know. I'm yeah, James.
Yeah, it's pretty like cheesy. It's pretty corny, but I was pretty hyped for it when I first saw it, just because you had all the previous years and decades of Alien and Predator movie, and it's like they have to fight at some point. So it had better fight scenes than the sequel, of course. I think it was way cooler seeing the aliens and predators fight each other like in that little temple thing. It At first I didn't quite get why they were why the predators were like keeping these things in the basement and then letting them out and killing them. But I think it kind of keeps in line with the whole like concept of predator, where they put them on like some planet and say, okay, like you're gonna go like get some experience at hunting things and killing things. So I guess they used the aliens, but it had better action sequences, I think, than the other ones. So it's not still not really a great movie by any means. Because yeah, some of like the lines are, the acting's not like great, but the action scenes are cool. But it's not that much better than what I have below it. So there's a lot that's way better.
Yeah, I wonder about like the logic of the predators, like that race, because I feel like a lot of the times they like, if you kill a predator, they don't get mad, they go like respect, because that's kind of like one of their big things is hunting and killing, and they're very like macho, toxic, I guess, kind of a way of thinking about those things. So yeah, maybe the xenomorphs are there just for sport or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
kind of thought.
but yeah. All right, so we can move on to our 11s, and my 11 is Predator 2. James.
I had a Alien 3 at number 11.
All right. Kerri, what is your 11?
My 11 is Predators.
Okay. All right.
Wait for it.
Oh. Oh. I
Oh,
can't wait
yeah.
to hear
Wait
about
for
that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Predators is a wait for it. Nice. Okay. So let's do our 10s real quick. Mine is Alien versus Predator. James.
I had Alien 4 at number 10.
Okay, Resurrection,
Yeah,
right?
Resurrection. Yeah.
Kerri, 10.
My number 10 is Predator 2.
All right. So we've had two people say Alien Resurrection and Predator 2 now. And then once we're done talking about those, we can go to our nines. All right. So I'll start with Alien Resurrection. I had that ranked the lowest. Um, honestly, like when you before you get the big return later on for the big divisive return later on for Ridley Scott, I feel like the Alien franchise just started to get worse and worse over time, and Alien Resurrection is not really good at all, in my opinion. Um, this has the Ripley clone. It's very weird. I don't understand that at all. Um, this was written by Joss Whedon, and I'll never praise Joss Whedon as a person again, but as a writer, one of my favorite. He created Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's my favorite show of all time. Uh, he was a co-writer on Toy Story. He wrote the Avengers. This dude is a great writer. Not on Alien Resurrection. I don't understand what happened with that, and I just don't. It's cool to see Tuco show up. Tuco Salamanca. He shows up um, in there, not as the character, but as the actor. Winona Ryder's in it. There's a lot of really cool like actors in it, but I just don't really. I forget everything about this movie after seeing it. Like, there's really nothing in there that I remember thinking is cool or good or really anything. I mean, it's not offensive, and you can see it mostly. So that's why it's like my lowest, my third lowest ranked movie. It's just really bad and pretty much equally bad, I think, as my bottom three. So I don't really like that one at all. Oh wait, that one is the one that has the hybrid at the end.
Mhm. Yeah.
I do think that part's kind of interesting, but then I feel like it was repeated and done better in a later movie. So it's kind of weird in that one. And I feel sad when it's like sucked out into space. That makes me sad. So maybe it did something that was interesting. I don't know. James.
Yeah. This one I kind of didn't mind Alien Resurrection. I mean, it is a little silly. It is like out there. I don't think like the Ellen Ripley clone was really like that cool. Because I mean, obviously, you had such a much better presence from her in the previous movies, of course. But I think the concept is, I guess, it's just fun enough for me to kind of actually enjoy the movie when I watch it, just for how ridiculous it is too. Yeah, you definitely kind of feel for that. I think the neomorph is whatever it got unofficially called at the end, getting sucked out of the spaceship through something the size of a golf ball. Like it's all like it's looking at her like crying and whining. Like I kind of do feel something for this thing actually, but it I found it more enjoyable than the third one, which I have ranked lower. And I mean, I got to be honest, it's kind of where it is in this list because I got to give my boy Brad Dourif some points. So anytime I see him up on the screen, and I love him playing the crazy mad doctor guy, like, no, we got to clone these things, we got to control them like this and that. Like, I love whenever he's up on the screen. I like pretty much every role he's ever had. So I had to give him a few extra points on this list. So maybe a little bit of bias here, but I don't mind putting this at number 10.
Nice. Kerri.
Yeah, I had this quite a bit higher than you guys. I
Oh,
totally understand
wow.
your criticisms. I would say mostly like, these are kind of two franchises in one. And I definitely lean toward the Alien franchise. Just it's the franchise I've watched more. It tends to run a little bit more horror than Predator. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I have some nostalgia for this one, and so I like it more than a decent number of the Predator movies, and then some of the newer Alien movies. And I don't know, like the basketball scene, it's so cringy, but it's also so classic. And now I
Oh
watch
yeah,
and
yeah.
laugh, and I think it's really funny. Um, I like seeing Sigourney Weaver, even though she's like this weird clone. And like you said, oh my God, Winona Ryder and Brad Dourif. Yeah, and I don't know, I do actually feel something at the end, and I do think that's like, they managed to make you feel for this creature. I think in a way that, few of these movies we're going to talk about. There's definitely, obviously, some of these movies like evoke a lot of strong feelings, but I don't know. I I have learned to enjoy this one.
Nice. All right. So we can move on to Predator 2. James, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, so I had this at number 9, so it's not much higher than like some of the Alien sequels and the other ones. And this one to me is like on my list. It's the top of like the worst movies. I think. Well, I've always been preferential to the Predator franchise over Aliens. I know Kerri was saying she has more like to the Aliens, I think, than Predator, but I always like the Predator movies a bit more than the Alien ones. But this one, I mean, it's kind of not good though. I like the action sequences. I like the shootout in the beginning. I like the concept of it overall. I mean, I like Danny Glover. I love me some Gary Busey. I mean, anytime he's up on the screen, it's bound to be good for whatever that's worth. But I like seeing anything with him in it too. But I don't know. It's not good though. I think some of the other scenes in it, when they're in like the high rise apartment, because it's like the gang wars in L.A. I think it's L.A. But I don't think it's tied in like that great in the beginning. But I think it ends up okay. But this isn't. It's not my favorite movie though. It's definitely not that good.
Yeah. Karen.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I have to add to that. I mean, I really agree with everything you said, James. Like there are some cool action scenes, but I think just in comparison to the other movies that I think all of us have higher ranked, I don't it just like plot wise, entertainment wise, like pacing through the entire movie, just like it just it doesn't hold up through the entire movie, I would say.
Yeah. Predator 2 is like my 11, I said. And it's just a weird kind of direction from, I don't know. I guess it makes sense. It's like Predator in the jungle. What if we do Predator in the city? It's kind of like they did it with Jurassic Park, right? So like let's do it now with Predator. Um it's kind of interesting. I mean, there's some cool stuff that happens. I also do like Danny Glover in it, and like seeing his like trajectory, uh like how is he alive at the end of that movie, and then he's just there at the end, trying to fight predators and stuff. Kind of cool. And then yeah, you got the gang war stuff going on, got a lot of skinnings of people and whatnot, just like the predator going around the city. I find it kind of interesting at some parts. I don't hate it, but I didn't really like it all that much either. uh Interesting direction, some cool action, but ultimately not really something I don't know if I'll want to watch again or anytime soon. Yeah, maybe I'll get in the mood to do a big Predator rewatch of the whole franchise again, but yeah, I didn't really enjoy this one that much either. So yeah, moving on to our nines, right?
Did,
No, eight.
James,
That
James,
was my 9. But what were yours? I don't know.
wait, James, did you talk? You did. So you started off with Predator too.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing nines.
nines. All right, so my nine, and this is a wait for it for James, is Predators.
Oh yeah. Wait for it.
James, what is your nine? Oh, that was Predator 2.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Predator 2 was number 9.
Carrie, nine.
Um, my number nine is Alien Covenant.
Ooh. Not a wait for it, but it's close to a wait for it for me. It's not a wait for it for James either. So okay.
Nope, but close to it.
All right. Oh, that makes sense. All right, so let's go to eights. My 8 is Alien 3. James,
I
what do you?
had Prometheus at number 8.
Okay, that is a wait for it.
Yeah.
Kerri.
All right.
My number 8 is also Prometheus.
All right. Prometheus is a wait for it. Two people have mentioned Alien 3. So we can go ahead and talk about that. Kerri, do you want to start with Alien 3?
Yeah, I'll start with it. I obviously have this the highest ranked of all of us, but it's just out of my top 5. It's my number 6. Again, this movie, I honestly I hated it the first time I saw it because Chad and I literally we watched Aliens and then we watched this movie for the first time, and it just like completely fucks up the entire ending of Aliens, and you're like, what was the point of Aliens? What was the point of the entire movie? Um, I wanted to treat it though as more standalone for this though. So I actually like watched things a little bit out of order for this. I didn't go like straight from Aliens into this movie. I watched it kind of on its own. And I think on its own, it's not great. Like I would say like I don't consider these movies like really fantastic until we get to my number 5. Um but I still have a soft spot for it. I don't know. It's again like a little bit of nostalgia for it. There were some really iconic scenes in this, like the scene with Sigourney Weaver and the alien like right up in her face.
Yeah.
Um, and so I some cool concepts and like I like the ending. Um, I mean overall though, it's not the best movie. I totally get why you guys have it lower ranked, and I like I said, I hated this movie the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah, Alien 3, it's right in the middle for me actually. Like it's not that low. It's my number 8. So, it's right in the literally right in the middle. Well, not
Yeah.
literally. It's a little bit below the middle because 7 would be the middle. Wait, actually 7.5 would be the middle. So yeah, it's right in the middle.
It's in the
Uh,
middle, yeah.
so Alien 3, I don't love it. I don't hate it. I do find that there is some interesting stuff in it. I totally get where Carrie's coming from as watching it as standalone. Because if you do watch it as like a sequel to Aliens, I feel like it does get worse. Except I've heard friends. I will name Dylan Randazzo being in here, and I hope I'm not misquoting him. Um, just take this with a grain of salt. But I think he was basically saying that like the Newt death, it's like, well, the franchise is bleak, so it kind of like steers into the bleakness of that, and like I'll add like the emptiness of space and how that's bleak, and I don't know. Um, I didn't really get the full answer from him. He couldn't do the show. I wish he could have. I wish Charles could have, but we uh, didn't have that. But I still think us three doing it is awesome because I love 3-person panels a lot too because we get like a lot of tighter stuff. But yeah, um, hearing about that was interesting too. But I just don't see it that way, which is how people view films differently. And I just because I love Newt in Alien so much, it's such a weird like tonal shift to kill her off in like the very first scene. And then not only that, but I'm pretty sure do like an autopsy on her. Like you don't like see much, but I think they do. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't want this. So yeah, it's a very strange thing. David Fincher directed this and he's since divorced himself from it. He's like, that's not mine. Because of like the studio involvement and stuff. I forgot to say, I haven't really done a lot of like cut comparisons as far as like which cuts I've seen. I think I've seen the Alien director's cut. I'm not sure if I've seen the other ones. So most of my thoughts are on like theatrical cuts. Um, down the line, maybe we could do some sort of episode on cut comparisons. I don't know, probably not. But yeah, the Alien 3 cut I've seen, I just don't think is uh, that interesting, but I do think there are some interesting stuff where it's like, the prison, is it a prison full of
Mhm.
Mhm.
um and I think they're all like all celibate, and then a woman comes in, and that changes dynamics and stuff like that, and then she ends up sacrificing herself, and I don't know. It could have had more Jonesy in it. Is all I'm saying. It could have had more Jonesy in it. Is is what I'm thinking. But with its interesting like concept and setting, and kind of like making it to where people don't have weapons and stuff like that, I think is kind of a cool thing to add to it. Go from the movies that have like, well, especially with aliens that has so many weapons, to having like none, kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. So I think that's where it's around the middle, where I just don't love it, but I don't hate it. So yeah, that's what it is. James.
Yeah, I think it's just like the overall like kind of tonal shift for this one that I really didn't like Alien 3 that much. I have this at number 11. I just plain didn't like it. I think given I forget what year this one came out, but the difference in like the overall CG effects of like the alien itself, like it's just so not good compared to what came out before it in previous decades. And I don't know, it made it look not as good. This was the one where she falls in the pit of like lava, Terminator style.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this one, I don't know. I didn't like this one. I'm so disappointed too because it's a Fincher film, but I know he even said like this is not like he's removed himself kind of from this also. And I thought I read somewhere that there's a Fincher cut somewhere, but I don't know.
I think there is actually.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see it, but anyway, this one's not that great compared to what came before, and in my opinion, what came after it. But that's just me, I guess. I didn't like this that much though.
Honestly, though, I do think that is a good point, where it's like, not only is it like just a weird kind of story change with killing Newt, like just seems so abrupt.
Mhm.
Um, but the fact that because you have arguably two like amazing movies right before it, that it just makes this one look really
Mhm.
bad, I think. So I think that's where Kerri says I watched it standalone. You kind of have to for that as well.
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on to our sevens.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And my seven might annoy some people, is Predator.
Oh, wait for it.
Same.
Oh, okay. All right, James 7.
I had Alien Covenant.
Kerri.
My 7 was, oh my gosh, Alien Resurrection.
All right, so two people have said Alien Covenant. So we can go ahead and talk about that
Mhm.
one. Starting with me. Alien Covenant. Uh, a little hard to talk about this without talking about the one that came before it, because this is sort of a sequel. But it's also kind of a shift. Like, it's not like a direct sequel where like the events of this start right after the events of the one before it. So it kind of can be a standalone a little bit on its own as well. But it does reference a lot of like the events from the first one. Prometheus is what I'm talking about. I think this one is really cool. It's just outside of my top five. I like the crew. I like the crew that's on the ship. I like uh the dynamics between the two, David and the other one, the androids, that are like kind of like, fighting each other in a way, and like one like kind of steals the other's identity. I just think it's like a really interesting um dynamic there. Um So I guess I'm not really remembering that much from this movie, so maybe I shouldn't have started on this one. I don't know. I know some people who really love it, and I do think there's a lot of really cool stuff in it. But I also just think that like the ideas that were in the Prometheus that were really interesting. Kind of like I don't know because I know people really were like, give us more uh, aliens in Prometheus, and then we got some more in Covenant, but I just feel like it also just didn't really give me that much more. Just that addition, even though the effects I think were really cool in it. Um, I don't know. I just remember liking this one, but just not really loving it. I think I don't start loving the movies until like the top five, my top five really. So, but yeah, I do think this is a pretty good one though. I like Ridley Scott's like ideas being made into movies with these franchises. So, it was a cool direction that he took it. Is like different. It's like instead of banking on what he did the first time and trying to follow that up, it's like here's another like set of new ideas that I got, but adding on to this franchise. um yeah, so yeah, a really cool movie. James.
Yeah, Alien Covenant overall, I think it's good. Maybe not all that great, but I don't like how they just killed off Elizabeth Shaw like that from the first one. I don't because I was hoping I think for more of that kind of backstory too, and we don't get that. I don't think I mind that David arrives on the planet and then he uses the pods to kill everyone and start making the xenomorphs. I don't like how it's grown people doing dumb stuff the whole time too. That's certainly overplayed, and for how much of it happened in the first one, I was hoping for less dumb stuff, but I guess that was a silly thing to want. I mean, the dude's like, he's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, there's only one more thing I need to make this species perfect, but go ahead. And this room of like eggs or whatever. Like, yeah, go ahead, look in it. It's perfectly safe. The guy's like, oh, what? Bam! Like, come on, really? You're gonna put your face in that thing like it's gonna be okay? I don't know. So stuff like that kind of gets me. I didn't mind. The cast was pretty good. I don't know. I thought Danny McBride was a little out of place, but just because he has obviously more of a history in straight up comedy movies, but I guess he wasn't terrible in this one. It was a good continuation from Prometheus, which we're definitely going to talk a lot more about for sure. Not overly great though, so it's like right in like the middle of my list. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I also think Danny McBride had like writing credits on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, did he? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
which is interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, uh, hilarious. I loved James's gripes there. That was really funny. But also, I just wanted to add, I just kind of noticed this. I love how perfectly framed James's head is between the predator and the alien.
I'm
It's
trying to
like
keep it that way. Yeah.
almost like you're you're stopping them from fighting. Like, guys, no, it's okay, guys.
Oh wait,
All
I
right.
don't see Danny McBride having writing.
Maybe I'm wrong. I know he like
I
writes a
thought so
lot,
too,
so maybe I
but
just like thought that, and he does.
I,
He's just in it.
he's I think in some of the other horror franchises he has, like Halloween.
Mhm.
I think he.
That's right. Yeah, I think I'm probably just confusing him, but he's in it, so I just thought maybe he wrote it too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a Ridley Scott joint. Why would he be writing? I don't know. But yeah, Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah. It. The first, I like the first one of the. I mean, this is like a set, right? Like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and I like Prometheus a little bit more, and I think it's interesting what was done with Prometheus. Um, like David's not my favorite character in this franchise, and these movies are all David, especially I don't know Alien Covenant. It's just. I don't know, it's kind of more of the same as Prometheus, but yeah, like with more aliens and more of a classic alien story, you know, where the ship comes in and they are exploring and then get attacked by aliens. Um, I don't know. I just don't I do tend to compare this with Prometheus and kind of treat them as a set, and I prefer Prometheus and what it did a little bit more. But generally, like these just aren't, you know, I don't think they're the worst in the franchise, but they aren't my favorite in the franchise. So,
And I will say, because he's not here to talk about it, I'm pretty sure Dylan loves this one.
mm,
Can't remember if it's his number one or not, but he loves Alien Covenant.
wow.
And yeah, when I found out, I was like, oh, that's really cool, because I love when people like have just a very like unique number one. Like when James had Scream 3 at number one. And I was like, whoa, that's actually really cool, because like most people would go, that's blasphemous. But it's like, someone has something different is really cool, because normally it's just kind of, I don't want to say boring when it's like the same old thing at number one, because a lot of the times it's just a classic, kind of thing. But if you can see a franchise in like a different way, that's really interesting. So, anyways, we can move on to our number six, right? Our number six.
Hmm.
And I'll say my number six is Alien Covenant. So just outside the five. James.
I had Prey, number 6.
That is a wait for it, but we're almost at the five anyways.
Same.
Kerri, six.
My 6 is Alien 3.
All right. Before we get into the fives, is there anything else we can talk about?
Nope.
Should we start talking about the wait for it, or just wait until we get to the movies?
Let's just wait till we get to, I think.
All right.
Do you guys? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's fine with me.
That's fine with me then. Yep.
Sounds great. Well, my number five is Prometheus.
My number 5 is Alien Romulus.
Ooh, nice. Kerri, what is your five?
My number 5 is Predator.
Okay. Well, then it sounds like, did anyone have Prometheus lower than 5?
Yes, we can talk about Prometheus.
Well, we can talk about Prometheus and then Predator after that.
Yeah.
All right. So, I started with Covenant. So James, Prometheus.
All right, so I had Prometheus at number 8, just below Covenant. It's weird for this one to be so low on this list, despite how much I actually kind of liked it when it came out, and still liked it, when I've rewatched it, when I kind of feel like it. It's definitely not bad. I think there's just a lot more in these franchises I like more than this. That's kind of the case with this one. I do like the origin story overall. I think it's kind of cool them trying to find, the creatures on like the wall inscriptions they see in the beginning. It's an interesting build-up. I like the cast overall. I think they do a really good job. I like the sci-fi effects are really good. I mean, it's 2012, so you'd hope it would be where it needs to. For the CG effects. I think I like the progression of the story overall. I think the issue with this one, and don't quote me on this, but I thought that Ridley Scott wanted to do something different with this, and then the studio was like, no, make it aliens or something like that. That's why you get this kind of thing in the end shoehorned in when it comes out of the octopus thing. I think the on-screen C-section is pretty cringe-inducing. If you're kind of weak-stomached, I was kind of cringing at it. Like that kind of grossed me out for sure. Just how good that looked and how well that was like played out and how well it was sold. I liked the effects of them like kind of mapping out that ship in the beginning. I understood why David he puts that little drop of like the life stuff into I can't remember his name. The actor's Logan Marshall Green, but I can't remember his name in there. But he gives him the drink and like, what are you prepared to do to like make sure this like like mission is successful, and the dude's like anything. He's like, all right, cool. So it happens pretty quickly. He dabs his finger in it with a little bit of that life stuff, and then you see he's got the little thing in his eye the next morning or something like that. And then Elizabeth Shaw's pregnant in like 3 days or something like that. But it's cool because it's anything. It's like, all right, well, you're gonna get a dab of this, and we're gonna see what happens. So that part was pretty interesting. Overall, I actually do like this a lot. I think I just liked everything else in this just a bit more than this one.
Kerri?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really interesting movie, like for Ridley Scott to come back after all those years and come back and do a movie that's in the Alien universe, but is so completely different from like every other Alien movie that came before it. I was listening to a podcast recently, and the podcast was like made before Prometheus like came out and was released, and it was like talking about how the hype for this movie was like, so it was like probably one of the most hyped like movies of that year for genre folks. And I know a lot of people like, this is definitely a movie that people have like strong opinions on, like either way. Like I think you love it, you hate it, or you just kind of are like, it's fine. So yeah, I'm kind of like, it's fine. Like James said, the cast is great. It's a really interesting story. It's just not my favorite. Like I have more nostalgia for the first 4 Alien movies, and so it's interesting. I'll watch it, but it's not one like I will like more likely go back to the first 4 Alien movies rather than this one.
Yeah, the the division of this movie is I don't feel like anywhere near as strong as like The Last Jedi, but
Yeah, that's true.
it's somewhere on that spectrum. Like it's lower. The people aren't fighting to the death on it, but Prometheus, I think is really interesting. I know there's a good amount of people who hate it. Um, I don't want to, I don't want to paint their story about why they hate it, but I assume maybe because it's just not a lot of aliens um, in it. But honestly, the reason I like it is because of kind of what I was saying with Alien Covenant. I have seen Prometheus way more times, um, so I feel like I don't know. It's also like the first one in a while that was released for the Alien franchise. And like I said before, instead of just doing the same thing that he did before, he's like, let's change it up a little bit. Let's introduce a new story that's kind of like talking about the engineers, like, this other thing that, was maybe hinted at in the original movie, but not really fleshed out. And I like that idea, like the expansion of the lore. It feels really natural, and I feel like that's why when they have like that, the alien stuff happen in Prometheus, where people are still like attacked and you know uh, infiltrated, I guess, by like these foreign alien creatures, and changed in interesting ways, like Logan Marshall Green's character, like how he deforms and becomes like this rage machine, is really interesting and cool, and just like, whoa. Um, the abortion scene that James mentioned is really gnarly and crazy. It's just like a really cool like cinematic moment of just wild horror, crazy energy. And yeah, so you get a lot of like really wild moments, but a lot of like really cool like philosophy stuff, I think, with David and his creator. And I think that continues in Covenant. And so yeah, I think Prometheus and Covenant are just like a really cool like 1-2 philosophical kind of, where did I come from kind of thing. Um where it goes deeper into like humanity, just trying to find out where they came from. And the um the main guy, right, Guy Pearce. Isn't he Wayland, Mr.
Wait,
Wayland?
yeah. Mhm.
So, and he's like, his whole thing is he's trying to find out how to not die, and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff with like that, because then David's like, I can't die, um, So I don't know. There's a lot of really great stuff. I've always really enjoyed watching the movie. I just thought it has like lot of really cool ideas and it executes them well. So yeah, Prometheus is my number 5. I really enjoy that one. Um, James started, so now we can move on to Predator. Kerri, do you want to start with Predator?
Yeah, I'll start with Predator. Yeah, I had this at number 5, so just in my top 5, and this is where I really start to like love the movies that we're talking about. Uh, and I mean, this is such a classic. It's at my number 5 and not my top 4, just because I like the other movies I have in my top 4 a little bit more. And I feel like this was a first time watch for me. I feel like if I had maybe seen this when I was a lot younger, it would maybe be a little higher up for me. I would just have a little bit of like nostalgia for it. But like this is just such a classic action movie. It's so cool. It sets up the entire franchise. Like the Predator is like, I don't know, there's some stuff like don't mess with the original. Like the Predator is like so scary in this movie. I feel like so well designed. And that kind of gets lost, I feel like, in some of the later Predator sequels. So yeah, I don't know how much more I can say. Like, and there's so many classic lines, like so many fantastic parts. Like, it's just such a fun time.
Get to the chopper. Yeah, a lot of great lines. I agree. It's interesting because I have this at 7, and I know Kerri doesn't love Predator. Like every time we watch it, like she's very vocal about it. And so I thought you were gonna have it ranked lower than me, and then I'm like, shit, I have ranked the lowest, I think. And I feel like it's kind of a mistake. I feel like this should be at least my 6, but I have it at 7, so it's not that much lower. I just do know that it's never one that I fully loved, and yet I know there's so many people that are like one of the greatest action movies ever. Um, I'm not even disagreeing with that. It's just never been one that has really captured my attention that much. I do think the kind of twist and like change of tone is really cool. It's like you think it's just a generic action movie for a bit, and then it just changes, and it's like a slasher, like hunter movie where they're being hunted, and then you have to have these macho men like trying to adapt to whatever the Predator's game is really cool. So there's a lot of really cool stuff. Maybe a little bit too much macho energy for my taste. I don't know. I do love like a good like Arnold action movie though, so it's weird that I just haven't ever really loved this one, but I do think it is really great. I think my top 7, I think actually is just where it starts to get really good. Um, and if I swap Predator 6, Kerri, would that make too much work for you?
What was your 6?
Alien Covenant.
So you want to make Alien Covenant 7 and Predator 6? Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All right. So now I gave it a little bit more love. Um, I think it is really cool, and I love that score. It has like a really cool horror score. So it's like in both worlds. It's a great like sci-fi like horror action movie. So it's really cool. James, Predator.
Predator, I have listed at number 1. This is my absolute favorite movie of this entire franchise. This movie is iconic from start to finish. Every bit of it. The cast is stacked. The one-liners are amazing. The action is good. The Predator design is amazing. The reveal of it is amazing. It's actually pretty genuine. And just, I love every bit of this movie. I do an awful Arnold impression, but you get like the Dylan, you son of a bitch, and it's like, the two like bicepious arms on the
Yeah.
at the same time. You get like, I ain't got time to bleed, and then Richard Chavez is the actor. He's right next to him, shoots some grenades off. He's like, "You got time to duck?" Like, it's just so good. He throws the machete at the guy in the village. He's like, "Stick around." Like, you just get so many. Of course, get to the chopper. Like, there's just so many good lines, but it's coupled with just, I think, such a great story because, obviously this being the first one, you find out, they're on this, they put him on this planet to hunt, like I kind of mentioned before, just to hunt people. I guess I don't know if they need to rack up some kills or get some experience, or whatever, to be, the awesome hunters that they are, the predators. But you think it's like a straight up action, like, let's go, kill some cartel members, or I forget what the actual point was, but you get the crossover when they start kind of getting like inklings of something kind of following them and watching them in the force, and you get Sonny Landham's characters. Like, I see it, like, I know that's Bill Duke, is like, I see it, it's in them trees, like, that's just so good. And you get one of the greatest, I mean, scenes on the face of the planet. You get Jesse Ventura unloading an M134 minigun into the forest. Everyone's dumping magazines into the forest. Like, let's try to just mag dump this thing and kill it. And that doesn't work. So they have to change up, their fighting style, kills them off one by one. And then you get kind of a great line with Arnold, because you're like, what the fuck are you, like, when it takes its mask off finally. But the whole point of that is, though, that initially it was Jean-Claude Van Damme in the suit, but he dropped out of the movie. I'm pretty sure they go do Bloodsport, but I think they kind of realized they didn't really need that, because the whole aura of, like, what is this thing, can be saved for the end, so it makes the reveal that much better. Arnold goes full jungle warfare on the guy, covers up in the mud, mask his, heat signature. Like, it's such a great movie, and this, to me, is absolutely the best one in this whole list. I got Aliens and Alien just a hair bit lower. I love those two so much, but this one, I think, for the action sci-fi mix you get, and just how well the whole entire thing is done, the cast, the dialogue, the action, how good it looks, I absolutely love this movie. This is number one, no question.
Hell yeah! Wow. I didn't know James was gonna go off like that, but I love that. I love that big, just like gush love fest about Predator. It actually makes me want to go watch it right now, because of, like, James being like, this is one of the best movies ever. It was like, I love when people can frame, so I've heard similar things from other people, but like not until James just went off. I think just I've never wanted to actually go and watch it, right now, because of that energy. So I probably won't, but probably soon, hopefully, because I did love that a lot. Um, Kerri's already talked about Predator, so we can move on to, and then you do have that moment, doesn't, like, when doesn't the Predator like sit there and laugh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That part's like kind of funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to our number fours, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my number four is Alien Romulus.
I had Predators at number 4.
Nice. Kerri.
My number 4 is Alien Romulus.
All right, there we go. But we can talk about Predators first, because we just got to that section. Kerri started last, so I'll just start with Predators real quick. And yeah, I think this one's really interesting. I think it's like a really cool twist. It's kind of got like a reverse, like, Planet of the Apes kind of twist, where it's like you're not on Earth the whole time, that you thought you were, and you're on the Predator planet, which is actually really, really cool, like, change of pace. You get a lot of really cool, like, different style of predators in this movie, and you get a lot of really interesting characters. Most of them are shitty asshole characters. So just like is anybody like a good person in this, which is interesting, because Adrian Brody just won best actor Oscar, and he's in this, but this isn't best actor Oscar material, I would say. but I did like him in the role. I thought, Topher Grace played, kind of a really despicable person. I remember watching this and I was like, just hearing people like sitting there like making very like vile comments in the movie that I thought were supposed to be funny, like Walton Goggins, like when he was sitting there talking about like sexually assaulting people, and it's just like kind of a throwaway line, and I'm like, what the? Who are these characters? Like, why are these people in this movie? Like, who wants to hear some of this dialogue? They think it's funny. Like, I just don't understand. So I do have a lot of problems with the movie, in my enjoyment of it, but I watched this like right after I watched Predator 2, and Predator 2 I just thought like didn't really like look that great and just felt so shoddily made in a lot of ways, and this one felt very cinematic and felt very like well shot and just kind of really interesting, like the way they did, a lot of the effects and set design and just the ideas that they had. I thought the Topher Grace twist was weird, but I also thought it was kind of like interesting how they did it. Like, they introduced the paralyzing poison early on, and then they don't really mention it, and then he has it to do his really stupid plan that he has, and then gets foiled. So that was kind of like a little bit of another interesting twist. And yeah, I just like the fighting in it. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I get why somebody would love this. I did have it ranked pretty low, so more towards the middle, but pretty low too. Just because I just don't. I think a lot of the characters are really bad, and the story is just ultimately not that. Like, I feel like there's a lot of like wasted potential in it. But I'm looking forward to seeing James prove me wrong. James.
Yeah, so Predators was pretty cool too, and I definitely rewatched it for this ranking because it came out in it was 2010 when it released, a few years after the Alien vs Predators, and we desperately need something better than Predator 2. And this one, I mean, I thought this was really, really good. I liked the overall concept. It was interesting where they kind of switched up, where they put like the people on their planet instead of taking the predators like to the people's planet. So, and they managed to select like the worst of the worst, or like people who would have like, like killing skill, like murdering skills, and put them all in a group and see how well, like maybe a group of predators could, hunt them down and kill them, because you have like the predator dog looking things in this one too, which was a pretty cool addition. It was a cool concept. I loved I think what this one did well was with, and it's subtle, but some of the callbacks. I know we talked about it in The Predator; they kind of weren't that great. But this one, obviously, you have Oleg Taktarov is the actor. He's the Russian dude shooting the minigun. Love that. I mean, that's always going to be a fantastic piece of cinema, is watching an M134 getting dumped onto something. It's always going to be great. So to have it handheld again, awesome. Love it. Great that they put that back in there. But there was a bit in the movie in Predators where it's a callback to a line in the original Predator movie where they walk onto this into one of the villages they're supposed to like assault or find someone or kill people, whatever. But there's the people are dead, the thing's deserted. There's spent cartridges, like bullet casings all over the place. And the Predator, they're shooting, shooting in all directions. Like they were just shooting anything they could. They don't know what they were coming up on. This was before they saw the thing, of course. But they call that back in this one because there's a scene where they stumble upon some corpses of dead people who were there from beforehand. They see the bullets and like, oh yeah, they're like, shooting in all directions. Like, what were they shooting? Like that part. But I thought the callbacks were kind of good in this one compared to some of the other ones. So that was really cool. I mean, I love Walton Goggins. The guy's great in pretty much everything he does. And this was a great role for him. I mean, he plays a piece of shit, but he plays it well. And it's him. It's Walton Goggins. The guy's awesome. Adrian Brody, I liked overall. It's gonna be really hard nigh impossible to really recreate the whole Arnold thing. So you couldn't bulk up Adrian Brody enough for it. You just plain couldn't. I like them giving him the AA-12 shotgun. That's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool weapon. So it was cool to see that in this movie used a lot. I liked Mahershala Ali was really cool. I liked the Yakuza member. I think that was pretty interesting to throw him in there. I did think Topher Grace was like a little bit off, a little bit weird. Not my favorite, but I guess for how like small and like meek he was compared to everyone else, I guess it makes sense. He plays a more like psychological killer aspect, like serial killer aspect. Like he already knew what some of the planets were somehow. I think the reveal was kind of cool that they were on, the Predator's planet, not theirs. I liked Lawrence Fishburne being a surviving member of one of the other ones. It was cool to have him in there too. I liked all of the bits towards the end as well. Yeah, number 4 on my list. Liked it a lot. Still liked it on the second watch through. It'll always be good in my book.
Nice. I love that. Kerri.
Yeah. This is not my favorite. I agree. It's definitely better than I think Predator 2 and the next one, The Predator. Like definitely more enjoyable, more watchable. Like there's some really cool action scenes in this. I think my main problem with this movie is I like actively dislike most or all of the characters in this movie. It just makes it really hard to watch through. Like in contrast to Predator, I think has like, like the characters are, not, they don't go into, it's not like a character study or something, but like you're just rooting for them. They're just like, they're dudes. The Predator, it just has, Predators has just so many people who I'm just like, even the people you're supposed to be rooting for, I'm like, I just don't care. Like, so I think that's what makes this kind of a bit of a harder watch for me. Yeah, and why I have it a little bit lower ranked.
Totally. All right. So now we could talk about Alien Romulus. James, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, so Alien Romulus, I had at number 5. I like this movie a lot. I think overall it's good. I like the story to it. I don't mind that it's kids who don't necessarily know what they're getting themselves into until it's too late. It's not like stupid adults again. So that part kind of wasn't that bad. They're going in that space station to find the cryofuel or whatever, so they can get themselves off of their planet. I liked all the cast was pretty good. The android actor David Johnson was awesome. Like that was such a good role. It was very, very fan servicey, of course. There's so many callbacks and parallels to the other movies in the franchise. There's almost too many to list, but they're all throughout the movies. If you've seen any of them, you'll know what it is when you see it. I don't think that detracts from it necessarily, but I think it does take away from what another movie, like what this maybe could have been instead, if you were to devote that screen time to something else, as far as like maybe like plot progression or an overall like storyline goes. I think it's kind of lost on that. The end of it was good overall. I don't mind how they threw in the thing at the end. I guess it's also neomorph. I don't know what everyone's officially calling this thing, but she has the baby and it grows like 7 feet tall in like 2.5 minutes. So I don't know if that's some like gestation period inconsistencies there or what they need to run with after this one. It was a cool enough inclusion. It seemed a little shoehorned in just to say, hey, here's something else from like the Alien franchise we could put in here. I mean, if they like elaborate on that in the next one, that could be kind of cool if they like take that further. I didn't mind the whole Prometheus life goo thing in the one room of the station. That was kind of cool. They put the little Prometheus music in the background too. I kind of liked. You've got the scene with the android right behind her shoulder, showing them how to, not the android, one of the kids showing how to shoot the rifle like Hicks did in Aliens. Like you get that kind of callback. I did like the bit of logic in here when David Johnson, the android, was like, oh, well, we're on like the bottom floor of this space station, so if you shoot these things, their blood's going to fall right through the bottom, and we're all going to die anyway. So that was kind of interesting. I like seeing a little bit of that in the movie. Although a few minutes later, Isabella Merced, her character, I think she gets up those flights of stairs kind of quick for having a busted leg like that. So that you kind of got to forgive. I know the movie's got to carry on, so they do what they can. I like the alien reveal is cool. I think it's obviously a faithful recreation, so it looks really good. I guess I liked how it all kind of kicked off when they pull the cryo fuel out of the cells and it kind of heats up the room, which has like 200 some face huggers in it. That part was kind of cool. I know this is me being me about movies, but I don't know. They should have heated up that hallway hotter than their body temperatures, because if you're like right on, they were like, well, if we heat the whole room to 98 degrees or whatever, our bodies are 98 or 95, whatever, then we'll blend in, But if you have to heat the whole freaking hallway, right? Because they open those doors, and if there's any temperature differences, they're going to be able to see them because there's cold air coming in the room now. So that part I get, but they should have just heat blasted the hallway or something, or I don't know. That part I didn't like that much. It was creepy though. I think the effects were really good. A lot of practical effects, I think, in this one. And trying to think of what else. I was talking to Charles about this movie, and I hope in whatever we see next, we get a movie where someone actually gets to the destination they're trying to go to, because they fail in the first Alien and Aliens. They fail in Prometheus because Elizabeth Shaw gets killed off, and she's finally in this ship, flying off wherever in the end. And I'm like, maybe they'll actually get to where they're going to this time. But I guess we'll see what happens if they do another one. Overall, good, really good. Not like super great, maybe. A lot of the shoehorned in fan service, but pretty good overall. I liked it.
Kerri?
Yeah, I also really like this one. I think it's, in my opinion, the best Alien movie we've gotten since Aliens. And there have been a lot in between. I think just overall, really solid story, really heartfelt story. And I agree with James. I think the major weaknesses in this movie are some of the fan servicey things, and I think, if they just kept it a little bit more to like the original, not tried to throw in like callbacks, like so many callbacks, it would have been just a little better. I think it just stands on its own so well. It didn't need those things. Just especially the characters were really well developed, like the story between the main two characters.
Andy, that's the name of the thing. I'm sorry, Andy. Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Andy, and then I don't remember.
Rain.
Doesn't matter.
That's the main girl. You're talking about the main girl?
Yeah.
Rain. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Rain.
Like their story was really great. We get kind of a happy ending with this one, which is rare in an Alien movie. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, and also the Ian Holm stuff bothered me so much. One, I just have kind of like I don't think it's great to do, but also the technology is not there, especially in this movie. I just don't think it looked really, really bad. It really took me out of the movie. But other than that, I thought this was like just a fantastic movie. The action was so on point. Like Fede Alvarez did great with all of the horror elements. So yeah, really fun.
It is really interesting just to like think about the like making like a new fresh movie versus like one that has a lot of callbacks and stuff like that. I'm just like thinking about like other movies that like generally it does kind of bother me, like Halloween 2018. when that came out. I was just like, guys, just make a good movie and don't worry about like being like you know, a simp, like being like praising everything that came before it. And then it's weird because I saw Alien Romulus, and while I did notice some of the callbacks, I feel like there's just a lot of callbacks that I didn't notice because it had been a while since I've seen like a lot of the Alien movies, and it just didn't really bother me. And I haven't seen it since to really see if like those were all like on my mind during the movie. Um, if that would really bother me, because like really the only big ones were the hybrid thing at the end, and then the baby at the end, and then also the get away from her you bitch line. Those were like really the big ones that I noticed, and then everything else just seemed kind of original to me. So I just really liked it. So not a lot of that really detracted from me. I kind of went like, okay, I got it. Like when he did the get away from her, you bitch. But then I've heard uh another friend basically say that like, well, that also works for the character in the moment. It's not like they shoehorned it in and it doesn't even make sense. Like it makes sense. It's just happens to be another famous line from another like famous movie. So it can be a little bit jarring. Especially with the big pause that he has. It just seems like a very big like cinematic thing. Like maybe the studio was like, you got to put that in there. But also, I mean, Fede Alvarez, he's not shy of like remaking things and putting things from earlier franchises in as like an homage kind of a deal. Like he did the same thing with the Evil Dead 2013, and a lot of people love that movie. I'm not like super high on that one, but what I do really appreciate about that movie as well as Alien Romulus are the practical effects that they use and the filmmaking that they put into it. They're definitely not cheaply made movies. And so that's why I feel like a lot of people really dug Alien Romulus, is that it's so well made that like the only like big criticisms that I hear are too much fan service and that Ian Holm thing is weird. Um and I get it if that stuff kind of dampers the movie for you a little bit. Kerri said it took her out of the movie with the Ian Holm thing. I get it. It did me a little bit too, but like it wasn't like so jarring that I just didn't care about the movie anymore, because I really did. I really liked the story between the sister and brother, and you know the the changes that happened with David Johnson's character, because like he seemed like so kind of like sweet and reserved, and like you know uh you care about him and care what happens to him at first, and then he becomes like different and just like really strong and like confident, just like kind of a really cool like acting challenge for him. I think he nailed it. Like that was such a cool role. Yeah, and I liked everybody, like all the actors and characters, otherwise too. I think Kaylee Spaney was great in it. So yeah, I would love to see a sequel to this. I just thought it was really cool. I thought it was really scary, really well done. Like even at the ends when you thought maybe it was just going to end with her being like pregnant and like, oh, it's coming, kind of a deal. And then no, you get a little bit more. And I thought that might annoy me, and then I was like excited to see what was coming. And then that thing at the end just got really crazy. I thought that was really cool. So it felt a little bit like the Substance, which had like a crazy like thing at the end there that a lot of people don't like anyway. So it is what it is. You One of those big third act things that you either love or don't. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool movie. It's my number 4. So can't wait to rewatch it. All right, so we can move on to our threes. We got our threes, Kerri.
Yes, our three. Yes, our threes. Yeah.
My 3 is Prey. James.
I have Alien in number 3.
Oh, nice. Kerri.
My 3 is also Prey.
All right. So we can go ahead and talk about Prey. And Kerri starts with Prey.
Okay. I love this movie. I think it's, I don't know. To me, like, it's my favorite Predator movie. I think if I had seen the original Predator a little younger, that would probably be my favorite. But I don't know. I saw this one like when it came out on Hulu, and I thought it was just fantastic. Like a real like return to the basics of the entire franchise of just like the predator hunting people down, and it just like to set it in this like unique um time in the past. I don't know, it just brought like a really cool angle to it. I loved having Amber Mid Thunder is the actress who's like the main character in this movie. I loved her and her dog. Like I thought it was just like, I don't know, it was great to see the story through that lens. um and have kind of in this franchise has kind of been like male dominated, to have like a, a final girl um in the Predator franchise. And I don't know, I thought it was cool, there's kind of like multiple villains in this movie, and I think that did give an opportunity for the Predator to, like, when it showed up, it was just like really badass. And like, I don't know, they didn't spend the whole, like, some of the later Predator sequels, I feel like you see especially in the AVP movies, you see it so much, it just like it's not really scary anymore. um this one, I thought the design of the Predator was really cool and scary. um and love a movie where the dog survives at the end and helps save the day. um and I thought it was really cool that they dubbed this entire movie in Comanche, like, and cast Comanche actors to do this. Like, I think it just, and like Dan Trachtenberg is just like a fantastic director. Like, it just, I don't know. I love this one.
Yeah, not only that, but like it was like all like Native American actors, but also crew. Like Dan Trachtenberg, like it's really like apart from I believe just Dan Trachtenberg, maybe a few others. It was kind of a like mostly Native American cast and crew. I just think that was a really cool thing to do. I think that needs to happen more because most of the complaints that we get from a lot of these movies that are like kind of like the cast is mostly like a person of color or some sort of like minority or subculture that or culture that you just don't see a lot. Um, if it's like mostly a cast of or sorry, mostly a crew of like white people, it just kind of feels very bland in a lot of the ways. Like it's like, well, you're not you don't like understand like the culture, so it's like why are you the one to tell this story, kind of a deal. So I do think that's really cool that you make this movie as authentic as you can by getting the people that live it, have the lived experience, um kind of a deal. So I had this one always in my top five, but I recently swapped it 2, 3 when I learned more about the movie because I had only seen it once a long time ago, like when it first came out. But I've been dying to rewatch it. I just haven't done it yet. But I remember thinking at the time, and I know James just got done loving on Predator, like that's the best one and stuff. But for me, this is my favorite one. I think this one kind of takes some of the dated stuff from the original Predator and like just updates it and just makes it really cool. Yeah, I like the Carrie said, I like the final girl aspect of it. Like she's kind of like, you know, it's just different. It's not like a macho movie. And, I feel like it's kind of anti macho, whereas she's, strong and confident without being like the, fuck yeah, biceps, kind of a deal, which I think you need both. I think you do need the, fuck yeah, biceps Predator movie. And then you need the more, I don't know, like intelligent, like I'm gonna defeat the predator with smarts kind of a deal. Um, So yeah, I like having both. Like Kerri said, I think both franchises for the most part are really good with saving their animal friends because Jonesy survives and the dog survives in Prey. So I love that about these movies too. But yeah, I just think it was shot really well. It's just really cool, um, authentic like period piece like Kerri was talking about, and yeah, the Predator stuff is done so well. Um, I think we got the two best like Predator movies up at the top there. But yeah, this one rules, and I really need to rewatch it. James.
Yeah, so Prey, I definitely like, and I can say I like it a lot. I do have this at number six, so it's not like my favorite of the movies in these franchises, of course. I do like the overall concept. I do like the inclusion of all of the cultural appropriate actors. I think that's all great. I like it a whole lot. The Predator itself is done really well. The CG is good. The action is good. You guys are right. It's like brains over brawn this time, but I'm sorry, y'all. We can't have a movie where we have a predator lift a grizzly bear over its head. Okay. We can't have a movie where a predator catches a snake mid strike before it bites it, and then you're telling me it gets bodied by some 100-pound soaking wet girl. I'm sorry, but it takes it out just a little bit. And don't get me wrong, Emma Midthunder, she's awesome. She's in this movie, man. She's in it. She's giving her all. She's making it happen. She's putting in the work. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. And the other problem is this: towards the end, because she kills it by getting its own weapon to shoot at it. Right. The problem I have is you're telling me that this thing doesn't know what it's looking at with the three triangle lasers on its forehead like this. It turns, it looks at me, and it cocks his head this way and goes like it tilts its head this way, and you're telling me this evolutionary, badass hunting machine that is killing all these people in the forest. It looks at its own weapon and goes like, oh, what's that? And then I'll go get my dog real quick, and we'll play some weird noises for him, and he'll tilt his head too and go like this and that, like, oh, like what's that? I don't understand. Like, no, you can't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You can't have that kind of build up for this kind of end. I'm sorry. Like everything about it is great. Don't get me wrong. I do like the other individual scenes, the overall progression of it, fine, but you can't go from lifting bears and catching snakes to going out like that. I'm sorry. But I do like the pistol that one of the I think they're French. One
Yeah.
of the French soldiers it's on the wall in Predator 2. And when he
Oh.
walks in, when I think it's Danny Glover at that point walks into one of the rooms of the ship, and there's a whole wall of like skeletons and weapons that they've taken. One of those pistols is on that wall in Predator 2. So that part's kind of cool. I like that. Just a few things irked me about it, and it's not even like that big of a deal because again, it's the movie. They'll do what they want with it, but I wasn't sold on the build up for versus how the Predator kind of went out. But other than that, awesome. I think all the actors were in it. They were doing good. They, wanted to make it happen. They made it look good. Predator was cool. It's just those two things kind of bugged me if you couldn't tell. That's all. But overall, good movie. I'll definitely rewatch it. I'll probably like it when I rewatch it again, but there's stuff I like more.
Totally. All right. So now we'll go on to our twos, and we're at the home stretch.
Yeah.
My two is it Alien or is it Aliens? It's actually a really tough call because they're both great. It's Aliens at two. James,
I also have Aliens at number two.
Kerri.
I also have Aliens at number two.
All right, nice. Yeah, but James ranks Aliens higher than Alien. You
Hmm.
heard it here. Uh, a little bit different for Kerri and I, it seems. Yeah. So now we're at Aliens, and we can talk about Aliens. And me, it's on to me. Sorry. Okay. Um, I think Aliens is fantastic. Honestly, it's just like I don't know when you ever see something like this happen, where you have one great movie, like one of the best of all time, made by one director, and then another director's like, I'm going to make a sequel to that movie, and it's going to be one of the greatest movies ever. And then it's just like, what? It's like they're two different movies, different styles, but they also work together like cohesively as like a first movie and sequel. They both work on their own too. And they're, I don't know, it's just like brilliance, one and two there. So for me, it's just so hard to rank them a lot of the times. And I think I just kind of go with the one that's more like stripped down, versus the hell yeah, all out everything and aliens. But as much as there is like, it's alien, but it's more. There's more aliens. You know, it's not just dumb like that. Yes, there's more aliens, but there's a lot of heart in it as well. You know, when you do have the whole socks being crazy. All right, reset. Where you do have the whole concept of motherhood, where it's like, motherhood with Sigourney Weaver, whereas like I think that's one of the big like director's cut changes actually, where like they talk about like Sigourney Weaver had a daughter, stuff like that, which actually does make it better, because you have that sense of loss, and and um and then when she meets Newt, she gets like a refound kind of like maternal uh instinct and like, calling, I guess, to protect Newt, and that relationship's so beautiful. I think that's why a lot of people, myself included, um dislike Alien 3, because it doesn't continue that. It just like cuts it to pieces. um and then I love the then you have the mother alien xenomorph, which is really cool. And the get away from her, you bitch, is used here first and organically and great. I love the mech suit, so cool. I love the whole thing between Ripley and Bishop, which is a really cool thing because she's been known to hate uh what are they called? Synthetics, androids.
I think
Um,
it's androids. Yeah.
yeah. So she's been known to hate androids, and then that is tested when, she finds an android that actually helps her and helps Newt and stuff. So I love that. And yeah, just I mean the action's great in it. You got a lot of like, the whole like army of people. Everyone's great in that cast. You have Bill Paxton, with his iconic, game over, man. The iconic like knife scene. And then you have what Bishop is does the knife thing, and then he does it really fast, and then you have Bill Paxton going, oh. So there's like so much great stuff in this. It's just a really, really great movie, and it's just it. I love that you have two brilliant movies like this, but it also like pains me when I'm ranking. Like I'm like, I want Aliens to be number one, and then like, but then I want the other one to be number one too. So that you can see like my dilemma. I love them both so much, um, and yeah, I just think they're freaking perfect, dude. James Cameron, yeah, he's a real one. Let's just say that. James,
Yeah, Aliens at my number two. I love this movie. I love it so much. It's almost tied with the first Predator, maybe, but it's just so good. I mean, a lot of what you've already mentioned, Chad, is what like I kind of had to go off of this one too. I just like the overall like concept, how he continues the story or his own version of it from the original one, but still does such a good job. You get more action in this one, which I think the folks really want. I think it's what the people really wanted too. It's the story's told so well, like the relationship, like you said, the relationships, like you said, like they play out on the screen really, really well. There's so many like aspects of this I love so much, but I mean, I really love this movie a lot. I'll just pass it on because that's what I got.
yeah, Kerri.
Yeah, I also adore this movie. I think it's a perfect movie. I have this one second and not first just because I'm a little bit more of a horror person. I feel like Alien is a little bit more horror. Aliens is a little bit more, definitely a lot more action. Um, uh, but yeah, the characters in this are fantastic. The story is like so tight. The action is phenomenal. Just you can't say anything bad about this movie. I just personally prefer Alien just slightly more.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's always the age old debate. I feel like everyone's arguing, and a lot of people are Alien first, a lot of people are Aliens first, and we got that division here a little bit there too, in this very panel. So now let's, my number one is Alien, and James had Alien at 3, and his number one is Predator. And Kerri, what is your number one?
My number one is Alien.
Perfect. All right. Alien, James.
Yeah, this movie fantastic too. It's up there with the other two. I love this one so much for I guess different reasons than the other ones, but like you guys kind of said, you like the horror aspect a little more. I think I'm a little more of an action guy myself, so I think the blend of that in my top two kind of edges out this one. But this one is still so good. I mean, it's the OG. It's classic for 1979. It was just done so well. It looked amazing. The effects were still really cool. I like the overall story and the plot. I like when he's Burke is talking to Mother and she's like, well, pick up, find the specimen, crew expendable, and they find it out. They all get real pissed. I think I love Ian Holman. This one is so good. Tom Skerritt does a good job. Of course, I can't think of her name, but I should know. But Ripley, the Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, I mean, amazing in this one too. It's just such a great concept, and it's just executed so well. It's definitely straight up horror. I mean, when you think she's finally free in the end, and you can kind of see the headpiece of the alien in like mixed in with the tubes in the ship, you're like, oh shit, it's not over yet. And you see it kind of moving around, and I love that kind of bit too when it can incorporate horror without like being jump scares. But I like the jump scares in this one too. I mean, it's a little bit cheesy because you get kind of alien jazz hands at Tom Skerritt when he looks down the hallway, but it's such a tense scene too, though. So it's done really well. I mean, the chest burster scene that goes down in cinematic history. I mean, I don't even know how many of them saw that coming. I don't think that was like unscripted, but I forget what they did or didn't tell people about what was supposed to
Yeah.
happen there. But that was just done so well. You get the acid blood. They kind of figure out it's gonna, they have to figure all that out too. It's just so well done. And I think I like the action a little bit more, which is why I put Aliens and the first Predator above this one. But I love Alien. It's so good. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the thing, is that they like rigged the chestburster thing to happen, but they didn't tell, I think, anybody before filming.
Right.
And then, so I feel like a lot of the acting's like natural there. It's not really acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Kerri.
Yeah. Also, like, just this is one of my favorite movies. Just beginning to end, it's like tension building, and like I love how you get these characters and they feel so lived in, and there's exposition in the movie, but you don't even really realize that there is exposition, and like you kind of get a sense for the relationship between the characters and like who they are, without like having to overtly state it. It's just like it's in the acting, it's in the script, it's how they interact with each other. Um, like the alien design is so cool. That end sequence when she's like in the little shuttle, like James was talking about, it's just so well done. And like when Sigourney Weaver is like backing up into the spacesuit and putting it on, she's like not taking her eyes off of the alien. Like, I don't know, we've all been kind of scared like that, and you can just feel it in her, like how scary that situation would be. Um, so yeah, I love this one so much. I just think it's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yeah. Yeah, Carrie's right. Also, that is another callback in Alien Romulus that I remember is like because Kaylee Spaney does the same thing when she crawls inside the
Mhm.
suit, and that's also kind of like how I am when like there's like a spider on the wall. Is I would also try to climb into something and get away from it. So yeah, I have that is very relatable. Being scared of something in the corner that you're just like don't move, don't come out of where you are, just leave me alone. Yeah, this is like one of the few I say there's like a handful of like movies that you can go are great and like nearly perfect, if not perfect, in this franchise, but I think this is the best one. It's just perfect. Like you guys have been saying, is that well, Jonesy lives. Love Jonesy. And it's just one of those things where it's like a perfect science fiction movie, perfect horror movie. It's also got its like action like tones to it, like Ripley at the end, just like with that big gun she's carrying, and all the steam coming out and stuff. It's just so iconic and cinematic, and you know, uh all the stuff with Ian Holm is so great, and just like that's like one of the big horror scenes too, is like when you see him like melting and like spitting up like android stuff in his head, like electrify his head to make him talk again, and then it cuts to him just like a little blob, and it's just really gross and creepy. Um, yeah, I do agree with James. I do think that one part always like makes me go like, okay, like a little bit like when it's like a guy in a suit going like, with the alien. So yeah, I do get that part as a little cheesy, but that would be like the only kind of like, all right, like part of the movie. I think everything else is just so good. But yeah, James right, is that even though that you have that part, that's still a really effective jump scare. That's really cool. I think the director's cut of this one is really cool, because it does have the Dallas, in the web going kill me kind of a thing, is like kind of a cool moment, really scary and creepy with that as well. Yeah, the ship with the Nostromo with Mother and all that stuff is really iconic. Kerri made a great point talking about the naturalistic of all the performers and the characters, and how everything feels lived in, like they've been on this mission for a while. Um, and yeah, all the scenes of them going onto the planet is really iconic, and all the set design there is just incredible. Like everything else would just kind of like copy it because they had to, because that's what it established and came up with. Um, having the chest burster thing is freaking great. Mr. Ollivander dying that way. Rest in peace, John Hurt. You the best. Um, we just go on because it's just so much about this movie that's just so fantastic. Literally one of the greatest like cinematic achievements like ever. And I love it to death. And yeah, um, yeah, James, you started on this one, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're done. We ended. That was the last movie to talk about. So now we can go on. I believe Kerri has been kindly preparing an overall ranking for us.
Yeah. And we have one tie. I'll start with number 13. Our number 13 is AVP Requiem. Number 12 is The Predator. Number 11 is Alien versus Predator. Number 10 is Predator 2. Number 9 is Alien Resurrection. Number 8 is Alien 3. Number 7 is Predators. Number 6 is Alien Covenant. Number 5 is Prometheus. Tied for number 4, Predator and Prey. At number 3, Alien Romulus. At number 2, Aliens. And at number 1, Alien.
That's kind of a perfect ranking. Like I think we nailed that. Like I think everything is right in like a great spot. I love that tie because Predator and Prey like right together. I think that's so cool. I don't think that's disrespecting either movie in any way. Like, it's like I think the perfect movies are in like the top 5, and just kind of like a different configuration. Yeah, what did you guys think? You think it's a great ranking we did?
Yeah, I think it played out how it should. Yeah, I like where everything landed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, we did it. We covered not just one, but 2 franchises. I mean, I felt like that was kind of like the way to do it. We didn't do it that way with Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think that was, because it's like just one crossover movie, and that would be
You
way too many movies
you mean
for.
Friday Nightmare?
That is what I meant. Yes, no, not Halloween. Sorry, Friday and Nightmare. And still, it would have been like way too many movies to do that. Sorry, yeah, I misspoke on that. But with this one, there was 2 crossover movies, and I just felt like they kind of like mixed together well, and it's only 14 movie slate. So I feel like this was a fun smash to do both of these franchises in one, because we toyed with the idea of doing just Alien and the Just Predator, but I feel like it's fun to do it all at once, and I think we nailed it. So, yeah. You guys have anything else to say about any of the stuff?
I don't think so. Nope.
All right, we did it. Let's close this thing out. I'll just do a couple plugs. Just watch the rest of a lot of the other rankings on this channel, Cinema Chat. You ranking with me. That has been the main focus of the channel. Is to James and I just really wanted to get a lot of these franchises and directors and filmographies and stuff done. Where we got a lot that we are planning to do, and we just want to start releasing things more often instead of having these huge gaps. But now that things are kind of coming together, getting a little bit more free time, I think we're going to start trying to get things out a little bit more regularly. But yeah, check out all of our legacy videos before this one, and then check out a lot of the other things that are happening on the channel. I'm going to try to start doing more reviews. I've done a little bit of Oscar stuff here and there, so trying to do more of that as well. But mainly the You Ranking with Me. But also, please go over and give some love to the Dill Pickle Movie Network, which is another channel that I'm a big part of. And I do Picture This over there, where I do Oscar stuff, and we're watching all the Best Picture nominees. So I have a lot of great videos over there. Check that out, and check out Welcome to Primetime, which is the horror channel that I run with Kerri and our buddy Hunter, and a lot of horror stuff over there. So, do you guys have anything to plug other than what I've said?
Nope.
All right, cool. So, let's go ahead and close it out, and keep looking for other things coming soon to a Cinema Chat near you. But also, oh shit. Oh yeah, are you guys ranking with me?
Mm-hmm.